So to start a series on the Ten Commandments, I want to share about my dog, Picasso. It's a direct connection. So we have a golden doodle. He's a cute dog. We love him. We love Picasso. He's part of our family. Our kids love him. He even at night sometimes will make popcorn. He even eats popcorn with us. I mean, he's moved in and he's part of the whole crew and believes he's one of the human children and not one of the dogs. So we want Picasso to have a fun, full life. We want Picasso to go on walks with us. We want him to go outside and chase the bunnies in our yard. Sorry, bunnies. We want him to bark at the birds. We want him to stay out of harm's way and run around in our yard as much as he possibly would like to. The problem is we back up to a very busy street. Because of the danger of cars that are barreling at 50 plus miles an hour right on the other side of our fence, as curious as he is about what's on the other side of it, we love him too much to just let him run free out into that street and come face to face with something he's never understood and never encountered before. And so what we do in our yard, and it's not revolutionary, but we put a fence around our yard so that Picasso can go live a full, fun life within the protection of the fence that we give to him. The fence is there so that he can be free to play without fear at any time. So if he wants to go outside, no problem. You can go outside. You can go roam around. You can do your thing, and then you can come back in the house and be with us. The amazing thing is it might be counterintuitive about the idea of having a fence around Picasso and a fence around our own lives. The counterintuitive idea is that there is a freedom that comes with having a fence. Some of us don't want anybody to tell us what to do, and I would put myself in that category. By nature, though I try to do the right things, and by God's grace, He's changed my nature in so many ways, I don't really like to have a lot of fences. If you want to come to me and erect some fences around what I can or cannot do, I'm going to ask a lot of questions, and I'll bet you're not that much different than I am, right? We don't love for others to cause us to have to live within a certain box or certain constraints, at least until we understand why they exist to begin with. And you know, the truth is our dog, Picasso, would love it. He'd be like, Dad, can't you just leave the gate open? I mean, I'm just going to roam around and come back, right? I love you guys. I keep hearing things. I'm real curious about what's out there. And he'd love to roam. And sorry, Picasso, we don't live on a farm. If we did, you could go as far as you want. But we love you enough, Picasso, that we have put up certain fences and structures, not because we're trying to restrict you, but because we're trying to protect you. Not because we don't love you, but because we do love you. And it's actually our love for you and our desire for you to live a full, long life as part of our family and not leave this world too soon causes us to put fences in place to take care of you. And that transitions perfectly to what God has done for us. Out of love, God puts a fence around our behaviors so that we can live full, long lives. So we experience true freedom rather than counterfeit freedom we feel when we're just released to do whatever we want. Instead of a freedom from God, we're free to know God and follow God and experience God. And so God erects some fences around the ways we live our lives so that we can actually know Him more, so we can actually experience more freedom in Him rather than the counterfeit freedom that's no freedom at all that actually leads to death and destruction. Some of those fences that He puts in place as we understand the do's and don'ts of life in Christ and following God, and I don't know where everybody is spiritually here today, but the truth is to follow God includes some things we're going to do that we wouldn't have done otherwise. Following God means we're not going to do some things that we would have done if we weren't followers of God. It's part of the conversation and relationship with God. He's erected some fences to protect us, and some of them are erected so that we can be blessed, so that we can thrive. Some of the other things He's erected in our lives is so that we can be a blessing to others instead of a curse to others, so we can be a good to others rather than a curse to others that are around us. And this is where the 10 Commandments, as we look back thousands of years ago, fit into the story. Because often we think about God's laws and God's rules as, God, why are you so restrictive? Or why are you holding me back? And I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. There are restrictions. There are things that we're held back from doing. But why the list, God? Why would you create such a list? Can't it just be more free? Can't we just find our own way and make our own rules? Won't things be okay? God, why would you start with a thou shalt not murder, or thou shalt not steal, or thou shalt not commit adultery, or thou shalt not covet? All these things that we cannot do. It's like God is the ultimate not to do list, right? The 10 Commandments, God, could you have said in the positive, go do this and do that? Of course he could do that, and the rest of the Bible contains a lot of that, by the way. It's not just things we can't do. It's a lot of things we get to do, should do. We get to talk with God through prayer. We do get to read his word. Those are, in a sense, we do get to love other people. These are commandments, and they're positive in nature, but here he's got this ultimate not to do list for us. And we come to it and say, well, God, are you just trying to hold us back? But today I just want to mind shift us, if I can. Mind shift it from God trying to hold us back to God loving us enough to doing the hard work of teaching us how to live so that we are a good to ourselves, a good to others, and we are in deeper relation with God rather than in shallower, more distant relationship with God, which is what happens when we don't do it God's way.